Capricorn, the tides are turning. This is your December 2021 soul story. If you have a sun, rising, or moon, this is a general reading. This is Romy. Welcome to my channel. Thanks so much for being here. We are going to break the energies down and give you some insights to the astrological events and the energy conversations that are going to be playing out. And happy solar returns to those of you who are December born. So we're opening up with the energy of the Six of Swords. Now, it is a little bit of an electrically charged storm of energy through this month of December, which is going to deliver some dramatic conclusions and some real sliding door moments. Now, even though there's a tremendous energy of spinning out, here we have you actually looking quite calm and collected and very clear about the direction with which you are moving in. There are portals of possibility, and it seems to me that even though there are some powerful kind of hypnotic spells that are taking place all the way through this month, Capricorn seems very clear-minded. In fact, if we look at the water, there's a calmness and a stillness here. And if you find the environments that you're in and situations that are going on around you to be very chaotic, to be very upheavaled, you are going to be seeking that solitude. You're going to be seeking that quiet, sacred space in order to just kind of clear your mind and really be able to follow through with what you know is the right move for you, the right direction for you. You can't take it with you, Capricorn. That's really a strong phrase that's coming through, So I think there's going to be a deep reassessment happening for you in December as well, as you really start to review the value of things in your life. And of course, that's going to include some of the connections, because the big news for you this month is this Venus retrograde working its way through your sign. It turns stations retrograde on the 19th, but you're going to be working in the shadow energy of it right from the beginning of the month. It's going to go direct again 29th of January, but again the shadow kind of almost taking you through toward the end of February. So what dominates the headlines here in terms of Venus ruled themes of self-esteem and value, of love, relationships, money, beauty, and of course there's going to be some significant things that come up for you during this particular transit, Capricorn. On the upside, what you should start to see is that there is some real karmic reward and the deliverance of effort that has been invested significantly in some of these areas of your life. So, this is a time where I suppose we want you to think about the energy of force versus flow. During a Venus retrograde in your sign, it is not a time to force anything. You've already done the work. This is an opportunity to let that now make its way towards you, or to revisit something with new information, with new insight, with a new approach even, that doesn't mean that you have to kind of continue a situation that feels like it's backbreaking, that feels like it's burdensome for you. In fact, that Six of Swords suggests to me you are letting go and moving away from anyone or anything that is now no longer conducive to that sense of lightness and growth that you're starting to feel into, because this month, make no mistake, you are going to be very clear about a personal vision that is emerging from you. And, your best right now, your best is enough. I need you to kind of hear that. And so if you are feeling like really under pressure with something, and I suppose in some ways, even that feeling of wanting to escape, we've got Neptune shifting direct in Pisces on the 1st of the month. And so there is going to be that kind of an energy, especially as we approach the solar eclipse new moon in Sagittarius coming in on the 4th. Now remember the revelations, the seismic trajectory shifts that happen during these periods of time. They fundamentally change the direction with which we are moving, what we are thinking, and our life can really have huge changes and swiftly and suddenly during this time, But I have a sense for Capricorn, it's about an energy of almost there's this dramatic conclusion that feels like it's playing out around you. But for you, I feel honestly, internally, you'd already come to that conclusion. You'd already come to that knowing. You'd already come to that awareness. And there was almost like this sense of just waiting to see it, just waiting for it to happen. And when it does, I don't think it's going to be that much of a surprise for you in some aspects, Now, as we work our way through Sagittarius energy in the first part of the month, this is into your 12th house of release. And there are news, information, messages making their way towards you. Again, there's a direction here that's very focused. It's very clear. The sky is blue here. Again, the water is very still. There is a sense of you knowing what's coming and kind of almost preparing for that, and making sure that you are in a state to receive, And like we said, with this Venus retrograde energy, it can actually deliver some really wonderful things to come back. You may have, from a business and a monetarily perspective, old clients, or, contracts getting revived or being able to revisit, or money that was owed to you finally coming in, and perhaps in a real tidal sort of change with that. So, some of you might have a material improvement in terms of your financial situation. But at the same time this month, it's pertinent to kind of really recognize that we have some really powerful energies that are playing out. And, this clash of kind of Titan energy with Saturn squaring Uranus on the 24th, it's the third of this meetup. The first happened back in February on the 17th, the second on the 14th of June. And so it's likely that you will have felt this on a deeply personal level, as well as seeing how it's impacted on the collective energy. So think about those themes and what may be coming up again for you to kind of visit in a sort of conclusion and a kind of wrapping up energy. But it is really the discomfort sometimes that kind of gets our attention most acutely, isn't it? And in that discomfort, sometimes we really have to dig deep, and we really unearth something about ourselves, about the way that we are approaching life, and specifically, around our mindset. And I feel like there is going to be this shift and this change for you as a result of the impact of that energy. And, you may already be weighing something up and really trying to come to terms or figure out a particular solution. And I do feel that you may be forced temporarily into a specific pathway that you hadn't anticipated, or that comes around, even though you kind of saw it coming over the horizon. When it lands, it still might feel a bit discomfort. Might feel a little bit like a rub. But at the same time, remember, overall, I kind of tap into this sense of you being able to move forward and be able to kind of release yourself and actually find a calmness and a stillness in that. We're kind of dealing with the old versus the new, and sometimes the new isn't quite stable enough to sustain us yet. And so it may be, Capricorn, that there's aspects of, your life, whether it be your relationship, something you're working on, project, business-wise, in your health, wherever it comes through, that you're kind of feeling like, okay, I've made a change, I've begun something has started, but it doesn't feel strong enough to kind of hold the weight of what I need it to. It's not kind of quite ready yet. And so there might be a temporary sort of detour or redirection until such times as you can kind of really fully move into that. And again, the retrograde energy is going to give you an opportunity actually for a lot of healing to come through as well. We've got Chiron shifting direct in Aries on the 19th, the same day Venus goes retrograde, and also the full moon in Gemini takes place as well. So that's going to be a really powerful time in December for you to kind of see things being brought to light and really appreciate the journey that you've been on, but also where things are still feeling quite tender and do need to be addressed. Now, you've got Queen of Swords coming in the center of your reading. Could be an air sign, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, but certainly she's also kind of driving home this message of the need to be really clear-minded, really focused, really discerning, and to learn from your experience. This is not about jumping back into something that isn't good for you, because the healing here is going to emerge as you give yourself the opportunity to make a different conscious choice. Now, for some of you, you may be in a position where you have no choice. You kind of have to kind of follow or toe the line on something temporarily, but at the same time, the way in which you've changed, or how you approach it, or how you let it impact you, define you, affect you, that can be different. So never feel like you don't still have the freedom in any given situation to determine kind of what that actually means for you. This month, it's about really letting yourself be present And in some aspects, we might have to kind of almost let go of that expectation of how much growth you'd anticipated to see or expected to see in certain areas of yourself or your life or a relationship, because you are going to get like the true picture. You know, there's something about the way the stars are aligning in December that say be under no illusion that you will actually be given a very clear indication of where you have done the work and what that means for you coming next. Now, as we said, there's this kind of spinning out energy that's going to be happening all around you. Your Queen of Swords is saying, don't lose your cool, Capricorn, because there may be people around you that are going to be losing theirs. And that kind of electrical storm and that sense of sort of charged up, aggressive, almost kind of a little bit haywire energy can really impact on your groundedness, your centeredness, your peace. And this Knight of Swords coming charging towards you, but she's almost a bit like, well, come on, give me your best, because really I've managed to find myself in a situation where I can emotionally detach to the degree that I understand what is actually happening here, what is actually playing out here. But again, the thing I like is she's absolutely seeing him coming. You know, it's the same way with the Eight of Wands. Like, it's like you do get a kind of shot across the bow to say, like, this is on its way. Now, that can be in the positive as well as something that you need to feel aware of, because it's going to be a bit more uncomfortable, Capricorn. So, you know, this is not a doom and gloom outlook here. What we're just saying is that Spirit are giving you intuitively a heads up energetically at what's coming. And as we come into the Capricorn solar returns for you, and we hit that moment of solstice energy, and there's a recalibration, there's a shift, and there's an opportunity to kind of make a very profound energetic adjustment for yourself. Here's where the healing can really take place. And you know, there may be something that you need to rekindle during that period of time that's going to be really important for you. And here's the thing, it might not even be the thing that you think it is. You know, you might come into December with a really clear idea of, you know, what you anticipate or expect is about to come in or come back into your life, and yet actually the thing that reveals itself by way of, you know, wanting your attention or wanting you to come back and kind of look at anew, you know, might be something that's a little bit more unexpected. So your Hanged Man energy for me suggests this opportunity for you to come look at things from such a new place. And honestly, the perception that you have of yourself, that you will have of other people, that you will have of what is happening in and around you is really, really important, because you are kind of almost beginning to feel into so much of the energy of 2022. By the time we come in toward the end of December, we have Jupiter shifting into the sign of Pisces. Of course, that beautiful opportunity for spiritual revolution and expansion. You're starting to see how it's exploding, you know, much more mainstream now. And so, you know, the concepts, the ideas, the value systems, the philosophies, the integrative tools, the forms of divination, all of these ways that we can really support ourselves in terms of moving forward to really understand the new energy conversation that's taking place is being afforded to all of us. But you're feeling into something new. And I think it's important that you recognize that, you know, this is not about holding you back. This is about putting you in a position where you are able to see something so that you don't rush forward too quickly, too impulsively, because sometimes with that Venus retrograde, you know, we can have the desire to just jump right back into something. And again, if we're looking at this energy of force and flow, you know, we can have the infinity loop here going on with the Two of Pentacles showing up. There's something about, you know, you not wanting to kind of force or push anything too much during that period of time. In fact, more than anything, you want to kind of think about plan B. You want to think about a get out clause. You want to be thinking about, is this something that I would be happy to permanently sign up for? Now, if that's what you're looking for, if you are wanting the commitment, then how you have to approach it is that this is a month where everything's going to get thrown up in the air. There's going to be big dramatic conclusions, and from that there's going to be a lot of sliding door moments. So if you feel really far away from something that you wanted, that you expected, then it might end up coming in much closer, much quicker than you had anticipated. But at the same time, it's also reminding you that this kind of spinning out energy, you know, is giving you an opportunity to see something for what it is. And that might make a fundamental change to actually how you see something or someone, and therefore kind of completely give you a new thought process about actually what is good for you, what you value, kind of what you're really signing up for, or what you're letting yourself in for, so to speak, you know. So really be thinking about that. Now, of course, with the Saturn squaring Uranus that you're going to be feeling all the way through this month and into the new year, you know, it's likely that you are going to be kind of, in some aspects, forced to sort of acknowledge some uncomfortable aspects that, you know, maybe you've had the opportunity to change through the course of this year, and you've gone sort of part way, midway, but not all the way, and now, you know, it's kind of like get on board, and so there is going to be that powerful sense of just like, not that you don't have a choice, but something is kind of happening, and the tidal wave of energy is so powerful that you kind of can't stop it. That's what I mean about these tides turning. Now, the Magician is really interesting because it's actually saying, well, you do have control within the self. You have control within how you are using your energy, how you are expressing it. Your ability to be able to manifest instantaneously is amped up significantly during this particular period of time, especially during your solar returns, when you're really at your most radiant from an energy perspective. The Magician comes in and says, you know what, there are so many more ways to kind of find a way through this than what you may be led to believe, and I think that's really important. Again, Queen of Swords saying, let's be real discerning about who we choose to align with, what we choose to allow to be the story that we think is one of truth or one of value for us, and the Magician puts the emphasis much more back into use what you know, use what you have, and find the right way forward based on what the personal vision is that's emerging for you in this Capricorn. That's what's going to make the difference. Now, there's a magnetism here that I really like with the Magician. It's very charged up, and sometimes during those periods of great flux, which really December is going to be about, you know, we talk about these electrical storms almost bringing like portals of possibility. So again, you can almost timeline jump really powerfully. So things that you had anticipated or expected would take a very long time. You know, really, I see that you can master something very, very quickly. And again, because we've got that returning energy coming through with Venus retrograde, it may well be you pulling something back from the past or returning to something, adding or making an adjustment or a change, and then taking it back out and it being like something that just lands instantly. Now, you know, the Magician says it's important to communicate, to share, to put something out there. And again, that full moon in Gemini, the mercurial energy of like, let's share this information at the backdrop of how do we position this against a backdrop of diversity, division rather, and of polarity. You know, that's what the themes of Gemini can really help us to address, and clearly it's what's playing out in the wider collective at the moment. But again, as we have this kind of clash of Titan energy, I just want to remind you of this phrase: you can't take it with you, Capricorn. And if you can't take it with you, then what becomes important for you? And let that be something that really guides and leads you from a heart perspective as to what's important. Now, Knight of Swords is also returning energy for me. So, you know, from some of you, from a relationship perspective, especially with Venus retrograde, you may be revisiting old flames or coming back into old relationships, both personally and professionally. Remember, Venus does rule our relationship with money, and it's our sense of value, you know. So you have a chance to kind of come back to something with an improved self-esteem, which means that, you know, how you ask for what you want is changing, you know. And this is the thing, we want you to not anticipate that people are going to know what you need this month, because everyone's going to be kind of in this spin out energy a little bit, you know, and some are going to be under much more of a hypnotic spell than others. And so in order to actually really get what you need, you're going to have to communicate and you're going to have to ask for it. And then this full energy is saying you're going to have to take a bit of a leap of faith that once you've done that, that you're actually going to be able to leave that in the hands of someone or something or the universe, and sort of trust that actually what comes next when you take that step, even with a sense of not knowing or not being fully up to speed or not feeling that new energy or new pathway is stable enough, that the ground will catch you. you know. But again, both the Six of Swords and the Fool say travel lightly, Capricorn. And that just doesn't mean on a kind of physical level, that means on an emotional level. December is a kind of wrapping up, which means that there's some baggage that we really want to let go of. Because the merry-go-round that could take you back again in that retrograde is perhaps for some of you not going to be that fun, you know. And it's an opportunity now to kind of like now or never with some of this stuff. And I see you, but there's a calmness for me in your reading, you know, even though I feel there's a lot of churned up energy happening around you, there's something about your ability to be able to detach from that I think is going to be one of your most powerful kind of emotional tools through the course of this month, and to be able to kind of stay grounded, and then that kind of impact on how you communicate and what it is that you have to say to those around you. You're going to be able to see more clearly, even though you kind of have this Venus spell that's kind of around you. But the clear thinking, the clear knowing, the clear seeing is coming from your higher self, from that intuitive part of you, okay? Now, you do have a lot of air energy that's showing up here. So as I said, you may well have Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy that's going to be really significant in some capacity for you. There seems to be news and messages flowing backwards and forwards. And I feel like something that's being asked of you might also be a little bit unrealistic. And again, you know, there may be situations where you're not given a choice, or you feel like you don't have a choice. But again, you have to remember what you have and what you know. And you also have to project your energy out into the future vision of what you see for yourself and what you're feeling into. And if that's going completely against what someone is trying to kind of direct to you, then, you know, it's pretty clear where you need to put your loyalties. Yeah, it's going to be back to the self. So we're just going to take a look at the Oracle card. These are the new Kyle Gray Gateway of Light Activation. You can find all of the decks in the comment in the description box underneath, by the way, Capricorn. So you have Seraphim's Gateway, Voice Activation, Angelic Attunement, Divine Support. And you do have that sense of support around you. I think you're going to feel that really strongly, because I think even if you are about to make a bad decision or a wrong turn, which is easily done, we're all human, I feel like there's almost going to be that sliding door moment that stops it from happening, because there's a karmic kind of balancing out here that's just going, no, that's not your road. That's not your road. So if you can kind of fall back into the trust of that, where you have been doing the work, where you have been allowing yourself to kind of really integrate so much of the learning, then this is the spiritual support that comes through and reminds you. Now, this voice activation is also important, okay, because there's something about the way you are speaking that's changing, and that's always going to begin with the self-narrative, isn't it? How we talk to ourselves. But the Magician, again, is showing me that kind of transmutation of something into something that has a much higher vibration. So again, what you're working on, what you're bringing into any connection, any work situation, anything that's going on within your own family environment or your own soul journey, you're bringing a new energy to it, clearly directed by your guides, and it is something that you can trust in. The angelic attunement for me is really beautiful. I feel like you do have deep healing coming in. There's a really strong Archangel Raphael energy around as I'm doing this reading today, and I feel again that's very important, because the discomfort of having to revisit anything is actually being given an opportunity to really be flushed out and clear and cleansed in order for you to be able to make the move that you're supposed to with this full energy coming in. You know, it's so important. So we have the Starcode Astro Oracle here. Let's take a look. Okay, beautiful. We have the energy of Libra coming in and balance. Remember the solstice energy that's going to come in on, the 21st, 22nd of this month is so important, because it's really going to help you to make that energy adjustment that's required in order to not only deal with what's kind of coming at you. Remember, you're going to be clearly seeing that and preparing energetically for it, but also to just be able to kind of shed a little bit, you know, the shedding of the old as you come into that solar returns and really letting go of some of that baggage. There's also an aspect of justice that comes through with Libra, okay, and aspect of fairness. And again, Queen of Swords often connecting into that Libran energy. So I feel like, you know, you are going to be discussing, it is going to be something that's very important to you to recognize and see a fair and just outcome to something. What I will say in relation to that is sometimes we can't judge Spirit's methods of bringing justice and fairness to light. You know, they have a divine order of time and events that need to unfold that is in the highest good of the whole collective. And so on occasions we can kind of feel like we're in a state of disbelief as we observe or witness something, and yet it's always leading us to the highest possible outcome and a place where we can come together in a deeper sense of unity and love and compassion and kindness. And you have to maintain that active energy vibration, which is why you've got the angelic attunement and the healing coming through, so that you don't get caught up in feeling from a lower vibrational perspective any kind of state of despair or loss of hope in any type of situation, okay? The Queen of Swords here has the higher ground. She's more experienced, she's more emotionally mature than this Knight of Swords, and she's been around a lot longer. So this is your energy being expressed to that kind of aggressive approach, you know, from an experiential perspective. Now, if it is a person, again, they're coming in a little direct, but again, I feel like you can also countenance that with a sense of just being able to sort of dissipate. Again, that Six of Swords energy for me, it's just got this calmness with it, you know. So however dramatic things get or people get, or how much they're spinning out of control, you know, I feel like, again, we've got the stillness and the quietness and the surrender, like this beautiful soulful surrender with that Hanged Man coming in. So you can be a voice of reason in many situations and many instances. And you know, if you're finding or cross-watching and you're feeling like this is not representative and it may be someone else that's displaying this energy towards you, then that's all good as well. You know, it's just like the reading is here to give you insights and interpretations that you can then allow to make sense and find resonance with in your own pathway. So let's take a look at the Goddess card, see what wants to come up for you. Admit forgiveness, acknowledging the hurt and allow yourself to ascend. Okay, I mean, again, during this retrograde, I'm sorry just to keep calling it back, but it's just going to have such an impact on you because it's going to be working through your sign for so long, and it really is an opportunity for you to address something. And again, with Chiron shifting direct in Aries on the 19th, it's like the lessons learned during that retrograde transit are going to be with you very powerfully in your awareness. And it's not just what's happening personally, but it's as you look out into the collective and you recognize what's going on. It's like, okay, if I can't impact change out there, I can find a source of acceptance, forgiveness, compassion within myself. And as you radiate that energy out, it is having impact. It is making a difference here. Okay, so beautiful sense of surrender. You're just very protected here as well. These big cat energies coming in, helping you to trust in yourself and also to feel protected in the pathway that you're in at this moment in time. So, you know, for me, it's almost like a reading that just carves and cuts right through. It's almost like, you know, how do we build a tunnel right through like a impenetrable mountain where, you know, we've done it as a civilization over and over again. You can see it, you know, there are ways and means and methods. It's just about finding the right people, the right energies to come together and open up, you know, to the downloads that we can receive from Spirit, who will always give us that divine inspiration on the way forward. So Capricorn, this is a general reading for December. If you have a personal question, I'm just going to invite you to think about that now, and we'll go ahead and pull a couple of cards to address that. Okay. So I'm just going to then clarify this main spread. Okay, let's just begin with that energy of the Six of Swords. What else do we need to know here? King of Swords energy. More air coming through here. Ace of Cups. And the Empress. Okay. Ten of Wands. Well, we are turning our back here on something. Again, this movement, Page of Cups, interesting. This is High Priestess. This is the knowing, I'm telling you, you know. It's like something's making its way towards you, but it's almost like you get a heads up before it even lands for you, you know. Five of Swords. I know there's going to be a little discomfort around it, but I feel like honestly it's going to end up working out in the right way. Okay, we've got another 2 of coins coming in there. Yeah, this Knight of Swords has an offer or an invitation of some form for you, but careful how it looks like it's dressed up is what I want to say. That Hermit and the Hanged Man, beautiful stillness, peace to be found. 4 Swords, yeah, more peace, beautiful. Another Queen of Swords, interesting. 2 of Wands. Oh, another Magician. Okay, Capricorn, so these are the cards that we're going to talk about in the extended reading. You can find the link for the extended in the comment section and the description box underneath. We'll talk for about another 20 minutes or so. We'll go into your personal question as well. It's a way to support the channel, and if you're finding the reading is resonating, you can get a little bit more information. So thanks so much for being here. Please make sure you do like and comment and subscribe to the channel, just a way to support my work if you've enjoyed it. I appreciate you so much. Have a beautiful solar returns if it's your birthday in December, and I'm going to see you again for the New Year reading. Thank you for all your support this year. Take care.